The predicted temperature here in the UK is almost 40 degrees, a perfect day to sit at the beach with a cold beer and do nothing else. Instead, I decided to grab my bike and head to the steep hills of the Forest of Dean. Who wants to come and ride downhill tracks in 40 degree heat? No one. This place is deserted, which means nice clear trails. For those who don't know, the Forest of Dean is a trail centre filled with amazing XC and downhill trails aplenty, perfect for the keen rider. My original plan was to have a relaxed day and ride some of the chill trails, nothing serious. But it's funny how quickly sensible plans go completely out of the window. And yes, today's video does involve a potentially expensive crash, but we'll get to that later. And yes, I am going to be sweating my absolute arse off all day today, but just got to suck it up and enjoy the riding. Let's get to it. So join me on the toasty push-up track as I make my way to the trailhead. So it's only like 10:30 in the morning and already it is sweltering in the sunshine. Look how dusty the surface is. It's going to be really loose today. We could be in for a tough ride. At the top of the trails you're greeted with a very handy map. There's also a useful grading chart to help you pick the right trail for your skill level or current desires. So my original plan was to show you guys Countdown and then the brand new resurfaced Launchpad where they've done loads and loads of berms and sort of changed the trail about. But Launchpad is closed today unfortunately, so we'll ride Countdown and then either ride a bit of the Verdurous Trail or drop into some off-piste. I'll see how I feel when I get there. Countdown is a classic and very popular trail here in the forest. It's a fast and smooth flow trail with plenty of options to make it more interesting for advanced riders. With this dappled light it was tricky to see the trail in some places, but it's filled with rollers, many of which can be doubled to make things more fun. Also, a little later on, if you know where to look, there are a couple of small step down jumps to be had. These are completely rollable of course, but for the interested rider you can really find some hidden gems on them. Being in the middle of a 40 degree heatwave, the conditions today are as loose and dusty as you'd expect. As one of the easiest downhill tracks here, this trail gets a lot of traffic, but it's really well maintained, so you're almost guaranteed a good run down. I really like this trail. It's fun for warm up and it gets you moving in all the right ways. And it helps you get your trail spotting eye in, ready for picking lines on the harder trails later on. I'm not gonna lie, the breeze from riding downhill is lovely. It's nowhere near the hottest part of the day yet, and I already know that the push-up track is gonna be hell on earth later on. But considering today's heat, I fully came into today just wanting a chilled out easy ride. However, today's ride ended up being anything but. And as you're about to see, even on this first rundown, things escalated quickly. So normally coming out at the end of Countdown, I drop straight into Launchpad and continue the casual flow. But because it's closed, I'm going to have to improvise. So we've got Launchpad closed, so I'm going to try and head along this way. I don't remember what's on this trail, but it's going to be loose. Oh yes. And here, 4 minutes into the ride, is where my casual warm-up has gone to pop, as I start descending this steep and natural dusty line. In terms of difficulty, this is a big step up from the last trail, going from smooth and flowy to steep and loose and rooty. It's a bit of a shock to the system. Having ridden this line only once before, I kinda know where it comes out and that there's nothing too lethal on it, but that's about all I remember. The features and route are still an unknown. Plus, there are a few trails that split off from this one, so there's always a chance that I could just be on a completely different trail to last. Oh, squirrel. With most of the steep upper section involving tight corners and ruts, the middle section opens out a bit as it comes out of the closer trees, but continues with the steep and rutty theme. Eventually, as you get lower down, the trail stays steep but swaps the ruts for a carpet of roots. I love riding trails like this, where you don't know what's coming and you have to switch your brain on a bit. Because I've been down here before, I don't have to worry about finding a huge hidden drop or anything. I can just focus on enjoying the ride. Down towards the bottom, you have a flatter and rooty straight towards the finish. Not quite the warm-up I was planning, but it certainly jump-started my ride. Awesome. Now I'm keen for more. So back up the push-up track I go. And it's really living up to its name. I was pushing. And even in the shade, I'm getting hot. And out of the shade was even worse. So I just stopped to fly the drone for about 5 minutes and I am leaking. I need to get in the shade. Let's hit another trail. With the temperature rising, there's only a certain amount of times I'm going to be able to ride the push-up track today, and I want to get in as many runs as possible. So I came up with a plan. So with it being so hot, I'm not going to ride all the way down to the trail centre.
and then push all the way back up, which is taking me about 15 minutes in the heat. There's a lot of pushing and not much riding going on. So what I think I'm going to do is ride this top section of GBU down to the fire road, come back halfway up and ride Endo down to the bottom.
But clearly the heat was getting to me, considering that the last trail I rode was graded as being here, and now I'm going to ride the top section of this trail. A bit of a skills jump, but something that should be well within my capabilities on a normal day. But this isn't a normal day. Starting with a drop into a small rock landing, we're off. But then I started on the jumps, and instantly things weren't going well. I was casing everything, and I do mean everything. Jumps that shouldn't have been a problem for me were impossible, and becoming more so. This is dreadful.
Come on, Ollie. That's it. I'm done.
And certainly not the kind of performance I set out to do today. So, in a sweaty mess, I pulled off the trail. But wait.
Whoa, time out. And I think I either cased or like squashed every single jump on it, which isn't very fun. And yeah, that's not what riding's all about. Yeah, it's hot and I'm a bit tired after walking up the push-up track, but I'm going to go back to the top and actually give it some beans and commit a little bit and yeah, just enjoy the ride a bit more as I'd intended. Like I said, yeah, it's a bit hot, but geez, grow up.
And who can argue with a pep talk like that?
Right, maximum effort.
Much better. With my head held high, I exited GBU and headed for the start of Endo.
Right, dropping. So I remember the upper sections being quite flat and very dusty today, but there's some pretty steep and rooty, horrible bits a bit lower down. Oh, that is dusty.
I've ridden this trail once before, so I do know most of what's coming.
Whoa, skidding.
Down into the steeper section, this is a traverse over rooty ground down the side of a hill. I would say that this is harder than it looks on camera, but isn't always the case.
That's rootier than I remember.
There are a couple of line options that you can take in some places and a few corners to navigate, but all these features and routes are just child's play. The real crux is this rooty right hand corner coming up.
Oh, it's so loose and dusty.
It's a network of routes where a lot of the dirt has been worn away. It's steep and very awkward.
This way. Oh, yeah, nice.
Not bad. Back on solid ground and you can pick up speed again as you head into the large berm corners. Towards the end of the trail it slows down a bit as you hit these tight 180 berms in succession. On a dusty day like today I felt like I lost nearly all my speed on these, and even worse, I forgot about the small road gap at the end, resulting in a huck over the landing. Not very graceful, but from here on out you ride it out to the finish. Considering my original performance on GBU, I think I managed to pull it out of the bag on this trail, and it ended up being pretty fun.
That was hard work in the heat.
But I wasn't ready to end the day there. I wanted one more challenge.
So it's now about 1 o'clock and it is the hottest part of the day. I've just made it back up to the top of the push-up. I've not seen another rider in about 45 minutes. So yeah, it's getting warm. I did have sun cream on my forehead. I think it just sweated into my eyes, which is making vision a bit interesting. So I think it's time to hit the last trail, back down to the trail centre and get something cold to drink. So my plan is actually to ride Corkscrew. So I've ridden this a few times in the past, not for a while. It's got some interesting jumps that I think I've cased in the past, so that sort of goes with the theme of today's ride, is just case everything. And it also goes across this really sustained, like, rooty bit, which today's going to be really dry and dusty. So it's going to be a bit of a challenge to see if I can make it across there, well, down the whole trail without a dab. So last run of the day, let's see if I can get down in one piece. So I guess I'm just going to watch out for dusty corners and loose bits, try and make it across the routes in one piece and try and have a bit of fun. All right, Let's go.
The top part of corkscrew mirrors a lot of the other trails in this section of the forest. It's more of a smooth flow trail that weaves around on its route to the steeper terrain. But don't let the easy riding fool you, because things change quickly. As you work your way down, you have a few smaller jumps to play on like these, but once you cross the upper fire road, things start to get interesting. Your speed increases and you have a large tabletop that comes out of nowhere. This part of the trail is actually home to a few sneaky step down jumps, which of course I didn't realise were step downs until I was already on them, resulting in some more casing. Soon you have this 90-degree right hand corner that takes you into some drops in quick succession, and then a steep roll onto the fire.
Okay, down towards the roots.
And this section is where the trail gets fun. It feels way more natural and interesting than the smooth flow trail above. And if there's something that the Forest of Dean trails are known for, it's interesting route sections. And when I say we're coming towards some routes, I mean all the routes. This last section is a huge carpet of routes across the entire trail. This bit has multiple lines to it, each more rooty than the next, and some even have wooden drops into route landings. Not knowing the route, I was going to just have to pick a line and hope it doesn't take me over something too loose, dusty or disgusting. As luck would have it, I actually managed to pick a relatively easy line through, which was mostly on dirt. There were definitely some more challenging lines throughout here, but after today's antics in the heat, I'm just glad I've made it down to this stage in one piece. So, about to drop into the fire road, this is the end of the trail.
Yeah, job done. I'm excited I got down there, but I am warm.
So, thank you for watching this video until the end. I hope you enjoyed it. But before I go, I promise you an expensive crash, so here it is. I hope you enjoyed the footage, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time.